So Blender is built up out of these different editors. And the nice thing is that basically each editor has the same base structure. So if we take a look at the 3D viewport here, certainly the most space of the editor is used for the thing the editor is used for, in this case, for editing the 3D scene. But there are three additional things many of the editors have, which is on the one hand, the header up here, which has some important functions and menus which are related to the editor. And we also have these menus up here which include basically all the tools and functions we can use for this specific editor. So if you ever search for something which you don't remember anymore, you can find it over here. And the cool thing is, in these menus you even see the shortcuts displayed behind these different options. And this header we don't just have in the 3D viewport. We have it in every editor. We have it over here in the outliner. We have it here in the properties editor, and we even have it down here in the timeline. Then some editors have a toolbar on the left side. And this toolbar you can open and close by pressing the T button on your keyboard. If I move my mouse closer to the toolbar, somewhere here, this double arrow appears. Then I left click and hold and drag it inside the editor and you can see the icons arranged differently. And if you pull it even bigger, then the names of the different tools appear. So the toolbar basically includes all the tools you can use for the specific editor and the specific mode you have selected. But more about this later. And if you close the toolbar, you have this little arrow which you can click on, then it appears again. So, as mentioned, not all the editors have these options. On the side, for example, here the outliner don't have this arrow here, and in some editors it appears a bit differently. Like here for example, here we have the different tabs, but I also have this double arrow where I can move this in, and then this menu here disappears so I can click this little arrow. Then it appears again. And even down here in the timeline, if I make it bigger, you can see we have this little arrow. This is not a toolbar. Over here it shows the channels for the animation. We will learn more about this later, but it is placed on the same spot as the toolbar. And then on the other side here in the 3D viewport we have this sidebar which also includes some important information. For example, here we can see the position, rotation and the scale of the selected objects. And later on, if you enable some add-ons, you can find the settings for these here under the Tools tab. So this menu you can also move in here, and then it disappears and you can click on this arrow, then it appears, and there's a shortcut N to open and close this. So T for the toolbar and N for the sidebar. And then down here we also have the sidebar. But you can't see anything in here because we don't have an animation yet. But you can see it from the little arrow. And as you can see here in the properties editor, in the outliner, we don't have this sidebar. But, yeah, depending on the editor you're working in, it might be that you have these menus on the side. Or not. Also the header, you can right-click and toggle the header. Then it disappears and then you again have this little arrow to show this again. So this is basically how editor is built up. We have the main space, the header, the toolbar and the sidebar. And depending on the editor it can be that the sidebar and the toolbar is not there.